What I find most disturbing when I circle back to my question as to why, the answer is clear, and as our report states, we are not investing as we did 30 years ago. As the demographics changed, the face of the CSU, public funding has gone in the opposite direction. I find it interesting and a bit ironic because 30 years ago we didn't have ethnic studies or women's studies. 30 years ago I was unlikely to have been a faculty. There was more classes available, cost was lower, anyone who could be eligible went. There were no 30,000 students at the door trying to get in. In the past 30 years, I believe we have seen a continuous investment from government investing in its people. Yes, the people look different, but why sabotage a growing asset, a demonstrated economic multiplier for California? From social services to public transportation, we move away from servicing the public, we've moved toward pay to play and increasing the number of hurdles. Why such an emphasis? That is unfortunate, and we cannot let it stand. Chicano Latino students and all of today's students deserve the same educational resources and support we gave students in the past. If decisions are made to not do so, it says to me the following: these student experiences I have described is human collateral embedded in institutionalized racism, masking itself in the myth of meritocracy.
It used to be that you got an education, you got a good job, and you were in the solidly middle class. We're not seeing that anymore. One of the reasons is college affordability. I think everyone that spoke up here has said all of the different reasons as to why higher education is becoming more inaccessible. But I want to share with you the direct impact that has with our workers and the real fear that the members that we represent have. And one, how are they going to fund their kids' college education? And two, once they get there, will they get a good education so that they can perform and achieve the American dream? Those are real concerns that our members are struggling with, on top of trying to make a living and making sure that they have dignity on the job. I had a short conversation with an eligibility worker. I'm the mother of two kids. I have a 7-year-old and a 9-year-old. And she was talking to me about getting on the ScholarShare 529 plan to do the math on what she needed to be saving to help pay for her for her kids' college education. Her kids were slightly older than mine. The ScholarShare application said, which I encourage folks to look at, said in order for her to fund half of her kids' education, she needed to be putting $552 a month away. She said to me, that's what my paycheck is. So you can imagine the fear, and you can imagine the concern, because all we want, I think everyone in this room that is kids, is you want your kids to have a better shot than you. And so when our members are at work fighting for themselves, they're also fighting for their children, to make sure that their children have that pathway to the middle class that we've seen CSUs and the public education system give.
We have an opportunity right now. This report that you have your hands on is called Equity Interrupted. It doesn't mean that we have to accept it. It doesn't mean that we have to allow the interruption to stand. It means that we are faced with a political choice. What kind of state do we want to live in? What kind of investments do we want to make? I just want to close by telling the story of one of my favorite students, and we're not supposed to have favorites, but we all do. And so one of my children, Antoinette Sadler, is a transfer student. She's 26 years old. She transferred in from the community college system. And she is brilliant. She's a straight A student. She has passion. She's been leading a lot of the student organizing against the deportations and against the Muslim ban. She's a Pan-African Studies major. We stole her from sociology. And she's a natural-born leader. She was on the stage with me at the Women's March last month. The day after the Women's March, She's originally from Vallejo, California, the day after her brother was killed by Vallejo police. What the divestment from the California state system means for her is that when she took that time off to go up to Vallejo and to mourn the death of her brother and to organize for justice for her brother, it means that she's now on a clock that is forcing her to graduate within a certain number of semesters, but it doesn't account for the real life conditions that she has to face.
Improving our access and success in higher education does require more money. But I think it's useful to think about not just amounts of money, but also to tell the stories. We've begun to hear some of them from Professor Avila and Professor Abdullah about why it takes money to do a good job in higher education. When cuts happen in higher education, the efficiency that is gained by having more students in a class, having faculty teach more classes, etc., that shows up in a formulaic way as efficiencies. We have more students per faculty member. What we don't see are the declines in quality that